Welcome to this week's Renaissance Man. And the beauty of this program is, like I tell you, I'm going to talk about current events, fashion, and I'm always going to bring on people that have a story to tell. And this next guest has a depth of knowledge, wisdom, is extremely creative and talented, a veteran in the shoe game. Please welcome Steve Madden to the show.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I appreciate the love. Thank you for joining me.
Yes.
How did you come up with the idea that you would start your own shoe company and democratize the shoe market?
Yeah, it's a good question. Interesting question. But I want to say that, I worked for in my 20s, I worked for another shoe company, and I did everything that you could do. I sold, I designed, I packed shoes in boxes, and I just wanted to, do something, and I didn't care how small it was, but I wanted it to be my vision completely. And actually, at the time, thought that, frankly, I would take a pay cut to do it. No, not just on day one. I actually thought, I could make a lot of money working for somebody, but I just wanted to, create everything, this is what I wanted to do. So it was more of an ego thing than a money thing. A lot of people give ego a bad name. So I just want to put in a plug for having an ego. Okay.
Let's talk about that, because I normally use the term irrational confidence to describe my career, because I tell young people, I actually sat in a locker room one day and told myself, Michael Jordan ain't got nothing on you. You about to go make a name for yourself against him. So tell me how healthy your ego has now allowed you the success and the journey that you've been able to secure.
Well, that's quite a thing you told yourself, because, you're talking about the greatest of all time, Michael Jordan. But I felt that, I had a passion to make shoes that girls wanted. And I didn't think that I was the greatest of all time, but I thought that I was good, and I cared about it. Like it was something, it was bigger than money. I wanted to win. My goal is to make shoes for every girl in the world. That would be like my fantasy. Like I used to fantasize about other shoe companies, like going out of business, and I'd be the only one left, but sometimes you just have to take a leap of faith,
What do you see? Like for all of us.
Jalen, I'll tell you one thing. I don't mean to interrupt you, but when I started, I had butterflies in my stomach.
Please tell me.
Yeah, no, I did. I don't want anybody to think you do this, and, but I remember when I started out, like I'd have butterflies. I'd wake up and say, oh, because I was used to working for a big company, and I'd be like, what was that? What is that feeling? What is that? And I talked to myself. I said, just do, what you do, which is just focus on making great shoes, and everything is going to fall into place. Like everything will just fall into place. And I was right. It did, because I focused on that one thing.
As an expert and a longtime veteran of the industry, a lot of people see different things when we look down at someone's feet. What do you see when you see shoes?
Okay. So I have a lot of different answers, but I will say that I do this for a living now. And I take pride in the fact that through my skill, I put food on the table, I clothe my children, I pay the rent. I do this, and I'm proud of that. And I'm proud of that fact. Like, this is what I do, and I do this for a living, just like a guy who goes off and is a fireman or a plumber. I make shoes for people. And And so that's what I think about. Not to make it so commercial. I'd like to tell you that I'm thinking about, poetry and hearing music, but really, I do it for a living. And so I'm proud of that, actually.
What were your thoughts and how did your family and friends and business partners respond when Jay-Z mentioned you in his lyric by saying fake Manolo boots by
Very
Steve
good. You
Madden?
did your homework, J. Rose. You did your homework. So I just told my kids about that and they didn't believe me. So I was in prison when that happened. I was in federal prison, and it was fantastic. I was like, I'd be with all the guys, and in the rec yard, and I'd be, Jay-Z just rapped about me. And they'd say, "No, you're full of shit." And sure enough, boom. And, I became an honorary brother at that moment. So it was it was cool. Yes.
Yeah, to be name checked by a GOAT like Jay-Z.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that was a lot of cred in the yard.
Yes, it was quite good. Yes, it was very good. Yeah.
You'll appreciate this.
We later had, I got into a beef with Nicki Minaj later on. Yes, because I worked with Cardi B. And so Nicki, who I went to her house with Irv Gotti, who's a friend of mine, a great music entrepreneur. Irv Gotti worked with, Ja Rule and DMX and all those guys. And so Irv brought me up to meet Nicki. And so anyway, Nicki tweeted that Cardi B takes all her handouts, like all her things she turns down. So foolish me, the fool that I am, I tweeted, "Nicki, stop lying. I never offered you the job," something like that. But she called me every name in the book. It was terrible. I had the covers over my head, and it was terrible. They know how to go at it, and I don't. But it was, I like Nicki Minaj a lot. I have a lot of respect for her. We just couldn't. She had a contract with another company. That's why we didn't work together. It's not that I didn't want Nicki. I did want Nicki, but she had a prior sort of commitment. So anyway, I didn't really get to tell my side of the story. They beat me up so bad. Oh my God. I was under the covers for a week. Couldn't look at the phone.
You enjoy, as you mentioned, making women's shoes. What celebrity or famous person that you saw wearing your shoes that you were like, you know what? I've arrived.
I really enjoyed when we closed our Georgetown store for the Obama children. That really made me feel great. It was really, really awesome. So I knew that, all the kids grow up with my shoes, but that was like cool, because, but, everybody wears our shoes, and I get a kick out of, just like walking around and seeing it. And, like when I met with Lady Gaga, maybe 10 years ago or something, and I offered her, like, let's do something together. And, I said, you're Lady Gaga. And she said, no, you're Steve Madden. And I couldn't even go to, you weren't even cool in high school if you didn't wear, she went to Sacred Heart here in Manhattan, and you weren't cool unless you wore Steve Madden. So I didn't really get that perspective from the other side. And she was exploding at the time. So that was kind of cool to get that feedback. And, but, we worked with a lot of people, but really the coolest thing is just to be walking the streets and seeing it. It really is. Because, the celebrities get shoes sent to them at this point, all the design houses just send them shoes, I mean, I can't imagine Rihanna paying for anything. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And, So if they're most of them are paying for their Steve Maddens.
You'll appreciate this. The theme for this episode is turn your setback into a comeback. You've been upfront about your life story.
Yeah.
What about your greatest setback? And what did that experience teach you to bring you to where you are today?
So, well, being incarcerated was terrible. And I tried to make sense of it. And I went to prison, and then I was guilty. I was financial crime, and I was guilty, and I made no bones about it. I might have been the only guy in the prison that admitted he was guilty. Everybody in prison is, by the way, everybody. But, I said, like, what am I going to do? I got to, So I started working out. That was the first thing, and walking. It was because it's so awful, prison. Whatever you think, it's even more awful than you can imagine. And it's not so much the incarceration, because, human beings, you get in a routine and you can survive it, had some laughs with guys, whatever. But it's the heartbreak that knowing that the world is going on outside and the people you love are out there doing, living their life, and you're in the same bed every night. You can't leave. And, the world is moving and you feel dead. A part of you feels dead. So, and it's just so, I remember like visiting, people would come to visit me and then they would leave at a one door and then I'd walk back to my cell, and it was like, oh God, it was just crushing, but try to stay positive, mental, physically, and spiritually, and not whine a lot, sort of accept it. And then so stayed sharp, kept moving and working out and reading and helping other guys. And that's the spiritual part. And, I was ready to, when I got out, I was ready to go, ready for the second chance. And because I had built a great team and, because I knew I was going away, so when I came back, we just exploded.
What did you learn about the prison system that would shock people in the outside world?
Well, mostly they're warehousing African-American people. The drug laws are totally unfair. And Spanish people. And because that's what's mostly in the low and medium prisons, what they call low security, medium, and stuff like that. It's all drugs. It's mostly drugs. I mean, prisons would be empty without drugs. I'm not talking about, the penitentiary, because it wasn't in the penitentiary, but they're just throwing the book at young kids, just such massive amounts of time. And just, it's a sin. I mean, the amounts are big. It's not like a year. Guys are getting like 20 years, 10 years, it's just destroying lives, and defending drug dealers and people that break the law is not popular. It's not like a winning thing, but the truth is we're destroying communities, and it just, we need to do something better than that. It's just crazy what's going on.
For those that know, like yourself, prison has become big business.
Yeah.
And it really exploded when Bill Clinton became president.
Yeah, that's right. A Democrat.
I remember that vividly. And to be honest with you, and not to be political at all, but obviously I, as a young Black man, saw what drugs did to my community. I saw what it did to my family. And I always paid attention to the fact that he was a person that helped make that happen. So it always frustrated me sometimes when my people treated him like a hero, and even sometimes called him the first Black president.
Yeah. Yeah. That was,
That bothered me.
that's true. The drug laws were just, I don't know that it was, they realized the ramifications of what they did. Maybe he was just trying to get elected. But certainly it started with the Clinton administration. And frankly, and I'm a Democrat, by the way, and proudly voted for Obama and Biden. And, but I want to say that Trump, as much as I don't like him, actually did work with some people to get people out of prison. That was the one thing he did. And, you know, he was working with Van Jones and I believe on loosening some of the incarceration stuff. And because it's a terrible tragedy right now. I mean, it's gotten better because they changed the cocaine laws, which I know you know about, you know, crack
versus crack. Yeah.
Yes, which is strictly racist. It's just a racist.
Strictly
racist.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Just designed to punish Black people. That's just, let's just keep it clear. And, you know, so, yeah, and it's done such incalculable damage to the communities. And we don't even know, you know, there's rumors that back in the 70s, the drugs were pumped in by, you know, that's a whole other story. We don't have to get into that today, but, you know, I saw the difference too. I grew up in a wealthy neighborhood and there was a Black section. Mm. And when I was a kid, it was a wonderful neighborhood, the Black neighborhood. I mean, as a little boy, I'd go for barbecues and all this. Everybody knew oh, there's Miss Johnson, there's Miss this one, you know, everybody knew everybody. And then crack hit like in the late 70s or mid 70s. And it was like, whoa, it just took this neighborhood just got wiped out. And I could see it, you know, it was just a different ballgame. And that's a whole other.
It sure did. And the Reagan era is what that was at that time.
Yeah.
You recently released your memoir. Congratulations. Yeah. And I appreciate you guys sending me a copy. Thanks for the love. It's called.
You better read it. There's going to be a quiz later.
I got you. I'm going to represent. The memoir is called The Cobbler.
Yes,
what
sir.
did you learn about yourself from writing this book?
Oh, God. So just the thing about the book is, so we did it before the pandemic, and then I got to do the audio version because I had forgotten about the book. The pandemic hit, life changed. And then I read the book and I did it in a studio and I said, oh God, why did I say all this stuff? Like, why did I do it? Because I was in a different sort of head, you know. Now I'm in a different space, you know, and well, anyway, I learned, you know, not to be so hard on myself. I don't know. I'm not sure. I have to think about that. Maybe be harder on myself. I'm not sure. One or the other.
And as somebody that's written a book, I understand what you're talking about. And I did the audio version. It's like ended up being like 30 hours.
Oh, yeah.
So you write the book and then all of a sudden you do all of the stuff. And then 2 or 3 years later, when it is released, you're in a different space than when you actually wrote the book. So what do you want readers to walk away with from this book?
Well, the one thing that I've been criticized in the book, you know, people would say, you know, they would say that I didn't say I was special enough. Like I kind of was like, because for me, I think the message of the book was I was just a regular guy. You know, I'm just like a regular goofy guy, like growing up, you know, watching Willis Reed. I mean, you know what I mean? Like just a regular guy. Wasn't brilliant, but I did have a passion. I did love I loved my occupation. I did. And I was very passionate, and I worked a lot of hours and gave a lot of myself to it. And, you know, I guess that's it, maybe. You know, the one thing people are always asking me, like, when did you get started? Like, what did you do? And like, I loved what I did. I loved it. And that's really the biggest thing. And the other thing is, I did every job. So, you know, I didn't start, you know, in my own business. I worked in a shoe store. I swept the basement. I put shoes away. I sold ladies' shoes, got tortured by women, and still getting tortured by women. And, you know.
That just means you got a better half. That's all.
Yeah. So, so that's it. You know, I think that was it. Sort of I really think I was quite ordinary, honestly. And it's just that I loved what I do and I was good at it. And that was it, I suppose.
Well, I'm definitely encouraging my audience to go out and check out the Cobbler.
Yeah.
Not only we're doing a podcast, but I'm also going to write a column about you. And I'm going to send you a framed copy of it because I appreciate you joining me. But before you get out of here,
yes, sir.
I like to do a rapid fire segment called Gone in 60 Seconds. You ready to do this, Steve Madden?
Just close that door right there. Okay, go ahead. Shoot. Yeah, that'd be great.
How many pairs of shoes do you own?
4 pairs.
I figured that. It's like Thanksgiving. I don't eat a lot. Yeah. I knew your answer was going to be that. I knew it. I knew you wasn't going to say 4,000.
Yeah. I don't wear sneakers. Okay. And I don't wear sneakers in the gym. I wear boots like I wore in prison. Steel toe shoes. Yes.
I worked out playing basketball in Timberlands for a lot of years. Trust me.
So, okay, good. You know,
I heard music inspires your designs.
Yes. Steve
Madden would be the lead singer of what band?
Oh God. It would maybe oh God, maybe the Go-Go's.
What about,
I love pop music. I do. I love all kinds of music. I mean, I have on my pod, you know, my phone, I have Marvin Gaye and I have Loretta Lynn, just to give you
that's right there.
Yeah, and I have Tammy Wynette, you know, and Teddy Pendergrass. So
Teddy, legendary. Yes. How about your favorite New York sports team and favorite player of all time?
My favorite player of all time is Earl the Pearl Monroe. He is my favorite player of all time. My favorite team now, me and my son, we are rabid Brooklyn Nets fans. We watch every game and we're so excited about this season. But Earl the Pearl was, I don't know if you're old enough to remember him.
Big guard, legend. And I got a fact for you.
Yeah.
He was in the 1967 NBA draft. So was Walt Clyde Frazier.
Yeah.
The #1 pick that year out of Providence, Jimmy Walker.
Jimmy Walker, yeah. He had a big holiday tournament, the NIT in the Garden.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's my biological father.
No way. Yes, Jimmy Walker. I remember he was the toast of the town because in the Garden they had that college tournament. See, I know my stuff. You see that?
You do. Yes. He was there giving them 40s.
Yeah, he was amazing. And but the Pearl, I'm telling you, I went to the Garden, and when he touched the ball, it was like being like watching the Beatles.
Like Jesus.
He was amazing. And you know, when he was with the Bullets, he was amazing. He had to throttle it back when he played with Clyde, you know. And so it was a little different. He wasn't the Pearl, really, you know.
You just reminded me of something, and I want you to take credit when you see me on ESPN say this.
Yeah.
And I want your son to hopefully correct me if this example is wrong. Earl the Pearl reminds me of Luka Doncic.
No, that is really, wow.
I just not thought about their body types and how they move and their angular.
Wow.
It seems like they're moving at a slower pace than everybody else.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Wow.
I'm
Wow.
going to have to drop that.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
A couple of more before I let you get out of here. Two more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Favorite event you like to attend annually?
I used to like to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which was fun because I got to see all these legendary dudes. I would say that, but I haven't gone in the last couple of years. But this
And
year it's going to be the NBA Finals against the Lakers, the Nets. So.
Lakers and Nets. I'll be there. I'll make sure I come and give you a shout. I will be there.
Yeah.
And last but not least, if you didn't design shoes, Steve Madden would be designing what?
I would probably be designing pajamas. So, yes, especially now after this year. I lived in my pajamas.
You're not a businessman. You're a business.
There it is.
Man.
I love it. What
I
fun. It
appreciate
was
the
great.
love. Thanks a lot. I'll see you at the finals.
Okay, good.
Take care.